How are you?
I'm good. So
I'm good. Thank you very much for coming to my show.
you're welcome. And thank you for the invite. I
So,
know you've been reaching out for a while, but the past few months had been very packed, so I was really struggling to make the time. But fortunately, now we are on break, so I can get some time to myself. Yeah.
before starting, can you be in the middle of the screen so that my audience
Uh,
can see you?
oh, is it okay now?
Yeah, this is great.
All right.
So, firstly, thank you very much for being on my show.
You're welcome.
Yeah, can you please introduce yourself to my audience?
All right. Obed Ehoneah, and with background in pharmacy, but now pivoted into software engineering. Currently work with Sun Technologies, which previously was known as ALS Africa. That's more of an edtech company based in Africa, but then available internationally, working with some people from Silicon Valley and people across the world as well. So currently I work as the curriculum analyst for the software engineering team, working on developing curriculum for various software engineering and programming related programs or courses. And I'm also doing my master's. I'm doing a master's in health informatics right now. And the reason I am in health informatics, I have a background in pharmacy and software engineering, so looking for a place where I merge both knowledge, my experience in health together with my experience in tech to solve health related problems. So that's why I'm doing my master's there. Yeah, that's the background.
Oh, you have done PhD in?
No. So I did doctor of pharmacy. That's why I bear the doctor.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Sure. So, coming from pharmacy background and being in technology, when you started this and what made you to do this?
Yeah. Growing up, my father owned a medical store. So I kind of grew into the health field because I was understudying him in his medical store. And everybody was, oh, you'll be a great doctor. You need to pursue this. Go do pharmacy, like that kind of thing. So it was that way. The plan was to go do pharmacy right from childhood until I got into high school. And in my final year in high school, I was selected amongst the 10 people to represent the school for a robotics competition. And when I joined that team, that's where I found out that a lot of my colleagues that were there were technologically savvy. They knew how to use computers. They were doing a lot of things. I had no idea. I didn't even have a computer. I didn't know what a smartphone was, like all of these things. So I was inspired by seeing what my colleagues could do. At the time, I was just acting more like a technician. They'll say, give us this. Then, like we're building the robots, but they'll say, give us this. Then I'll pick it and give it to them. But I didn't know what was going on, the programming and all of that. However, I was interested. So I went to the library looking for a book to start learning something tech related. And I found a book that says, build your own website with HTML and CSS. So that's where I started off trying to learn. Mind you, I didn't have a computer then, so I was just writing the code in an exercise book. The same way I learned the school related stuff, that was where I was learning this. And fast forward, I went to pharmacy school in, I started pharmacy school, I think 2014. But then I was also interested in programming then, except that the interest in pharmacy school has been there since. But I was now developing the interest for IT. So along with pharmacy school, I was still teaching myself programming. So I ended up learning PHP, Laravel, CodeIgniter, learning all of those programming languages and building projects. So in pharmacy school, I was building projects even for our pharmacy students association. And eventually after school, I did 1 year of practice as a pharmacist. And I thought that now, I mean, even on the word, there are things that I feel we could have solved this thing with a simple software. I mean, I don't know why we have to wait for patients to get so sick to be able to. No one is tracking them. We can't do all of these things, but we can with a simple software we can do something like that. So hey, I think I want to do software to solve health problems. And that's why I decided to leave practice and try pursue further studies. But I then went to a boot camp, a 1 year program to train as a software engineer. Then here I am doing my master's as well.
So, before talking more about you and the work that you're doing, I just want to tell about my sponsor for this episode.
Sure.
So, which is Start Adam. Sales and customer-facing teams often switch between several communication tools, causing time management and visibility issues that can slow down deal velocity. The solution is Start Adam, where conversation starts. With Start Adam, your team can centralize all communications within your chat tool. No more switching, waiting, or fragmented chats, because chat messaging is where business gets done. Sales team can stay in Slack or Microsoft Teams and connect with customers, leads, or candidates on their existing chat tool, building better relationships. Their constant communication in inbound and outbound messaging. Make it encrypted and compliant. Plus, bring all communications into your CRM or ticketing system. No data entry required. Join Start Adam to enhance customer relationships and close deals at hyper speed with unified chat. Thank you again for being on my show.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So uh, right now, what exactly you do? Software engineering projects or teaching?
Yeah, so on a day-to-day basis, I'm more focused on building the curriculum and optimizing the curriculum for the students who are taking our software engineering program. So yeah, that's, for instance, coming next year, we are introducing new programs. So I'm currently developing the curriculum itself, the content, the projects that the students will be doing, assignment, and also testing it. We have an automated system that checks the students' code when they submit their project. So making sure that every one of the projects that I'm creating, I have created the checks for it and testing them out to make sure they are working and all. Yeah, so that's on a day-to-day basis. That's what I do.
So what technology services and tools that you have used?
With the tech stack, so primarily I use the main stack primarily, but then with our students, we also teach them Python. So I tend to use Python. Previously, we were teaching them with Flask, but now we are switching to Django. So the new set of projects that I'm creating, we are creating projects with Django. Then also a huge part of our software engineering program is on C. So a lot of C related stuff as well. Yeah.
So mainly this is about education and tech.
Yeah, exactly.
So how many people are using this application?
I mean, we have quite a lot of students. So we have quite a lot of students. I think the last time that we checked on the platform itself with the number of students, there's a lot. I mean, over 300,000 students. But yeah, so we have our students in cohort basis, right? So it depends on the cohort. Sometimes you have a cohort of more than 10,000 people. Some are less, some are more. Yeah, but there's quite a lot of people.
So coming from pharmacy background and becoming a technologist, so how that transformation happened?
Yeah, I feel that there's a lot of knowledge that I acquired in pharmacy that is equally applicable in my role or even in any field, especially when it comes to tech. Like one of the key things that I was taught as a pharmacist, to be an outstanding pharmacist, you need to be a lifelong learner. And I find that to be true as a software engineer as well. Because every single day, new technologies are being released. I need to keep updating my knowledge. Hey, tomorrow, for instance, we are working with React.js. We are teaching React.js and it keeps advancing. And now we are looking at, okay, a new version has come. the old version, these things have been deprecated. You need to increase or change the curriculum to suit this and that. So that is some of the things that the experience from pharmacy helps me with this. The other thing too is pharmacy school in itself was a lot challenging. There was a lot to learn and all the like, and it's kind of built me for software engineering. So I feel that I haven't really gone so far, even though I'm not hearing the health, I'm not hearing about medications and the likes, but it still feels like the same thing. And besides, I'm thinking about how to build software to solve health problems. So I don't seem far away from where I started, except that now the conversation is more about technology and the use of technology. Even in class, we are always talking about how to build systems to solve health problems. How do you identify health problems and make sure the systems that are in place right now, what can you do to improve upon it? And you're looking at the technology aspect of that. So I kind of, it's like the same thing, even though they are different. Yeah, for me at least.
So, what content you create as a content creator?
I create a lot of different types of content. So I started off back in 2014. That's where I started putting content on the internet. And that was when I was preparing to go to pharmacy school. At the time, I was creating more of news content, that was the first time learning content creation. But over time, I transitioned to creating fictional stories. So I used to write fiction and entertaining content. Then I transitioned to writing for my first startup when I was in pharmacy school. I created a startup for student entrepreneurship to help students advertise their products and things like that. Also, let the world hear about them and the like. So I created content for about student entrepreneurship. I was writing articles on how to create a business as a student. I was recording videos like that. We're going around interviewing student entrepreneurs. Then after that, I think in 2020, I started creating health related content. Being a pharmacist, it was easy for me to write things, explain things in health, right? And it turns out that a lot of people also liked it. And over time, I had mastered the SEO game. So I started getting a lot of traction to my site. I built that blog up to about 40,000 views per month, and that was pretty insane for me, with knowing that I was competing with very big health blogs, even though I was just an individual who was running that platform. Then last year, I transitioned into writing tech related content. So I write articles on tutorials and also create YouTube videos explaining programming concepts. I've recorded courses before in terms of tech related courses and using various technologies like using WordPress to build applications, and sometimes also things around writing, technical writing, to also share my experience with others. Currently, more of pushing the idea of learning in public, because that's what I've been doing in the past 1 year, and I've seen a lot of advantages. So I'm trying to push as much as possible for people, especially my audience, to get into learning in public because it comes with all of these benefits. So technically, or I'd say that now my primary focus is on writing tech related content. In fact, I'm writing an article to be published on Free Code Camp, and before I jumped onto this course. So that is what I do now.
So, as a software engineer, what kind of projects you did?
I mean, I've done a couple of projects. Currently, I'm working on one freelance gig. We are building an e-commerce platform for it's the team is in Nigeria, and I am on as a freelancer to help them build their back end. And that's one of them that we are doing. Back in pharmacy school, I built what we call the Farm e-library. So I built a platform for our learners to have access to the learning materials that they easily need or when you come to school afresh, where seniors can also put their content there for you to access. And over time, a couple of others, like my startup had to build a platform for, it was more of a marketplace where the student entrepreneurs will market their product and we advertise it to the various campuses for people to purchase it. I built some, student management applications as well. And the most, one software that I built that really made me convinced I wanted to do software engineering was I built a pharmacy management application, and that is currently being used in a couple of pharmacies in Ghana. And that gave me quite a good sum of money. So it convinced me to want to do software engineering full time. Yeah.
So the application that is working and helping students to learn, and uh, what kind of functionalities that you have put in it?
Are you referring to the
The
application that our
project,
students use right now?
yeah,
The
the project that you have done, which is related to
Oh, okay,
students,
okay,
the
okay,
learning
okay.
platform.
Yeah. So back then with the pharmacy e-library, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so with that, it was more of it was more of static content that we have loaded onto the platform. So essentially, all you needed is to have access to it, and you can click through. No, if you are in first year, you have that for first year. You have all the lessons in first year, so you can get all the handouts, assignments, the past questions, things that your senior colleagues want to share with you are all there. You can have access to it. So it wasn't really a robust application like that, but something with starter content that the students can get access to.
So you also said you are a AWS solutions architect.
Yeah, yeah. I think last, so in 2021, that's when I made a decision to stop practicing pharmacy. That was around October 2021. And right afterwards, I applied to AWS Restart program, which is a 3 months AWS program to train you in the fundamentals. So I sat for their first certification, the essential fundamentals of AWS. I sat for that. Then last year in August, I sat for the solutions architect. So I actually do a lot on, but not, that's not the role I do, but on my own, my projects that I work on. Like right now, the article I'm writing for Free Code Camp, I'm writing about using AWS EC2 and how to connect a domain name to it and like. So these are things that I do. And even for the project I'm currently working on as a backend dev for, I'm hosting it on AWS using their services. So on the side, I used my knowledge in AWS to assist in various projects, but I haven't pursued it as an independent career. I just felt that it was a good to know skill for me. And in case I wanted to go and become a cloud engineer, which I think is a nice one that I like doing, I would pursue it. Yeah.
You did the certification.
Yeah, I did a certification last year.
Okay, so how was it? How was that test?
I mean, it was good. I think the first one, the foundations, forgotten how they call it. Is it essential or something? That was quite challenging for me because that was at the time it was totally new and I didn't know anything about cloud. And there are a lot of terminologies. AWS has a lot of terminologies like what I know to be called virtual machine, they will call it EC2. But like different terminologies. So it took some time getting used to these terminologies. But fortunately for me, I got a free voucher even before I finished my training. So I decided to take a leap of faith and write the certification exam and see. And I wrote it. It was quite challenging, but I passed. So when I sat for the next one, it was relatively easy. So for the same foundations. I've forgotten how they call it, but they are fundamentals. When I sat for it twice. So the second time it was way better, way easier than it was previously. Then for the solutions architect, before I wrote the solutions architect, I did a lot of practice. In fact, at the time I was even streaming on Twitch my study sessions. So I was practicing and taking a lot of courses, doing some architecting on their services. So when I went to sit in that particular certification exam, it was more practical knowledge that I was using to answer the questions. So it went a long way to help me. It eased the stress about the exams. So I feel that if you have like domain knowledge, you've already been experimenting with them, it's easier because a lot of the questions are practical. If you are going to do this, what should you consider? Or like practical questions. So if it is something you've been playing around with, it's easier for you to score it. And for me, it happens to be that way because I had practiced a couple of times and I keep using it. So hopefully one of these days this year I actually wanted to write that for Google, their cloud engineer certification, but I didn't get the time. So along the line, I'm sure I'll probably go take that.
So it's foundational and associate level and expert level.
Yeah, so they have the I think they call it professional
Yeah,
level.
professional.
Yeah, exactly.
So, uh, so have you done projects which needs solutions architect work?
For now, I said no, not really. Because I mean, almost all the time, I'm the one who is thinking. Like for instance, this project, the e-commerce platform that we are working on, I have to think through what's the best way to host this application. So which of the services should I use? And you have to consider all of those availability, security, and all of those things, right? So even though it isn't playing out as, oh, you're architecting a solution, because this is a small project, like it's not a large scale. So if it's large scale, then you know that, yeah, we are really architecting solutions for these things. But even on a smaller scale, I mean, almost every time you are trying to set up an application, especially when you are not using serverless, like you have to think through and see, okay, how am I going to implement this? And like on smaller scales, I think that's what I've been doing.
Okay. And you are alumni at Alexa Africa.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Can you tell more about it?
Yeah, so ALS Africa, that's where I actually work now, but the company is now called Sand Technologies. So ALS Africa, it's the edtech part of it focused on software engineering. So that's where I took my 1 year software engineering training program. So just as I mentioned, I was a self-taught developer prior to even going to do cloud and coming here to ALS. But the ALS program is a 1 year long software engineering program that requires students to put in a minimum of 70 hours a week, very intense program. And what we did there, we did more of C programming, so low level programming for the first couple of months, like the first 6 months. You learn C and build stuff with C. So like we created our own basic shell project. We created custom functions in C and created some basic programming language, like we called the multi bytecode language and the likes. Then from there we did Python and we learned Flask with Python, right? Then we went on to JavaScript and HTML, CSS, did some projects. I think the major project that we did was Airbnb clone. Then you had to do 3 months specialization. So I specialized in backend. So we did a lot of backend related stuff, learning about caching and authentication, authorization, and all the in-memory caching, like those stuff. So yeah, that's it about ALS Africa, and yeah, the experience was really awesome. I got to meet a lot of people, and that's when I started it. That's when I started learning in public, and I got a lot of people connecting with me, networking with me, and it opened up a lot of doors. In fact, it was through that I got a couple of freelance gigs that I took. So it was quite a good experience for me personally.
Okay. And uh, pharmacist, software engineer, content creator, solutions architect. So how all these people are in you?
Yeah, I feel that at one point in time in my life, I may have to drop some of those titles. But for now, I don't practice as a pharmacist, except that I was once a pharmacist, and I mean, I still know my medicines. So, hey, that is it. But I don't actively practice as a pharmacist. But being a content creator, whether in pharmacy or in software engineering, I still create content. So anytime, any day, I'm happy to write something, whether it's health related, tech related, motivational. I feel that I like to inspire people, and especially things that I wish I had when I started. And almost any time when I'm going through something, I feel this is difficult. I know that there are 1,000 other people that will be struggling with it. And as soon as I figure it out, I want to put something, whether it's a video, whether it's an article, do something that will guide the next set of people who will be taking it so that it feels easier for them to get through it. So that's why I do the content creation. But the AWS part, being a solutions architect, it also augments my role as a software engineer, such that any team I'm on, if we need to do something with cloud, I fully understand it. I can easily integrate or build a solution for us. So I think for now, being a software engineer, solutions architect, and content creator, they are all complementary and they help each other. But being a pharmacist on the side, knowing very well that one of my biggest goals in life is to be able to solve some of the pertinent health problems that Africans face, I'm happy to I like the fact that I have background in health, and now I can think about what technology can we build to solve those problems.
So as an architect, what kind of problems that you can solve and how many services you know in AWS?
I mean, I know about a lot of their services. I've learned about almost all their services. I can't say all because AWS has several services, right? If you mention any of the services, it's more likely I know about it. Maybe I haven't used it before, but then I know that this is this can be used for that, right? But the basic ones that you need, especially for hosting applications, that I know I've used them to deploy various applications before. I have experience working with them. So yeah, if it comes to, hey, how do I host this thing on AWS? I think that I'm able to, or you want to see how I want to be using AWS, but how do I go about it, cutting down cost? How do I ensure security? How do I ensure that my system is durable or is very reliable? All of those I can, like, I have good understanding of them to architect solutions like that for you. But if you are looking at, say, you want to do some ML machine learning projects on AWS and the likes, those ones, I know the services, these services exist for these things, but I haven't used them before. So if I learn very fast too. So if it comes to a point in time where I'm supposed to take up a new project and say, hey, our team wants to implement an ML project on AWS, I'm happy to take it up, take a week or two to learn what needs to be learned to be able to deploy that.
So what is your present projects?
Currently, I'll say the freelance gig that I'm working on as a backend dev, but we are looking at trying to finalize it in the course of this break. But aside that, every other thing is more of building and testing what I'm going to be teaching. So going to teach, for instance, we are teaching React.js next month. That means that you have to plan out what project do you want the learners to build. And before you even deploy that, you have to build it and test your checks to make sure that everything works. So that's what I'm working on as well. But we are on break now until next month. So I'm taking a break from work. But personally, I was working on a startup this year that is more of solving a health related problem, which is more of the chronic diseases and accessibility to care and the like. But I had to take a pause on it because I'm learning new set of things that I think I need to rethink the whole idea of how I'm solving the problem and figure out the best way to solve it. So that is on pause now, and hopefully next year I would be working on something relating to that. The other thing right now is I like teaching and content creation, so I'm also trying to partner a team called Learning Bits, and currently we are creating a bootcamp that we're launching next year, January, to be teaching basic programming skills. So working on the content, and it's not just content. Anytime we are thinking about creating programming related projects, you have to build the project yourself and make sure that this thing is functional. So when you are using it to teach the students and asking them to do similar thing, you know that it works. So that's what I am working on.
You're from?
I'm from Ghana originally. Like that's where I'm from, but I'm not there now. Yeah.
So right now you live in?
I live in Canada, Toronto to be specific. That's where I am. I'm doing my master's here in University of Toronto. So that's where I am now.
So how is working with different countries?
Yeah, I mean it's quite an experience. So I started working when I was in Ghana with a team, and the team that I work with is all over the world. We have some from Silicon Valley, as I mentioned earlier. There are some who are in France. There are some in Canada, Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria, Tanzania, so all over the place with different time zones, right? But then the team is an async team, so they all appreciate that we are not in the same time zone, and on our calendars you can see that this person's work time is between this time and that time. So if you want to reach the person, you should know when to reach the person. When I was in Ghana, it was easy because we're like the central part of every other time zone. So it was easy to catch everybody before I close. But now, by the time I start work, my teammates from Kenya are probably closing, right? But the team is quite flexible in terms of how it operates. We only have one general meeting per week. So mostly it happens to be the morning for me. I just have to attend it. There are times that some meetings are a bit inconvenient that you have to wake up way earlier to attend, but then those are rarely the case. So once in a while when they happen, we just do it. Aside that, I mean, it's very flexible. You are working remotely, you get the opportunity to set up and work the time that is most convenient to you. I think for my team, what they are more interested in is the results. So we are supposed to be doing this. Are you able to do it and deliver without excuses? I think that's what they are most interested in. And so far, the experience has been great for me.
So what do you write in your blog?
I have multiple blogs, interestingly. So I have a technical blog on Hashnode where I write about various topics like tech related topics. So I've written about some Python related, some C programming related, Linux, some AWS, all of that. Then I have a blog on Medium where I usually write about my experiences, especially when I was going through the ALS software engineering program. I was writing about my experiences and how others can also leverage the lessons that I've learned to succeed in the program. And yeah, more of motivation there. Then I had my personal website where I used to write a lot, but recently I switched it up. I was writing my reflections, what I think, because I do deep thinking in a lot of things. So what my perception is about something and challenging my thoughts or common beliefs and things. So those reflections, I post them to my personal website.
Great. So, at last, what do you say about what is your observation about my work? Have you seen any videos of mine on YouTube?
Yeah, I mean, when you reached out to me, I tried to search what you were referring to because I didn't know. Because when you said interview, I wanted to know what it meant. Yeah, and I think it's great, and I've seen a lot of people also commend you on that, which is really good. Personally, I'm a fan of content creation in several forms. So being able to speak to people and learn from different perspectives, I think it goes a long way. And for me as well, like speaking to people is one thing I enjoy doing, trying to understand them and all of that. So yeah, kudos. Yeah, you're doing a great job, and I think that you should keep it up. Yeah, maybe today it isn't as big as you wish it to be, but just keep going. Hopefully tomorrow the switch turns on and everybody finds it useful. But hey, I mean, when I saw it, I was personally inspired because I've been thinking about wanting to start a podcast and wondering how to go about it. So when I saw it, I was like, huh, this is really a good idea. Talking to as many people as possible. Yeah, yeah. So keep it up.
I did masters in software engineering, also bachelor's in
Oh,
computer science and engineering. Right now, I'm doing some DevOps engineering projects, cloud DevOps engineering projects for a UK
wow,
and a US company. So, uh, uh, by profession, I'm an engineer, DevOps
wow,
engineer. So that's my
wow,
full-time job. Apart from that, I'm interviewing people like you who are already into technology and working in different projects and who are from different parts of the world. Not only technology people who belong to police department, who are authors, psychologists, doctors, I'm interviewing all kinds of people from all places in the world. I interviewed a lot of solutions architects, also CEOs, founders, directors, communication leaders. Also, I interviewed the vice president of Amazon Web Services.
wow.
Uh, so I've interviewed more than 700 people in last 3 years.
Oh my. I'm a bit curious right now. Like, what's the motivation for you?
So when after completion of my master's, uh, I was preparing for the PhD entrance exam. So I want to do PhD research work. So in that process, I was studying subject called computer networks, where the computers are interconnected with each other and information transfer is happening between computers through routers, all
Mm,
technology mediums, devices. So understanding this, I try to think more like what made human to uh, create this technology, transferring information from one place to another place, this communication system in the
mm,
technology. So I thought this thought came for human by understanding humans and human relations and communication between human beings from different places. So the real thing he wants to put in the virtual world. So I thought to understand the real people more or
mm,
from different places and trying to create uh, relating that computer network with the human network. I created a
mm.
human network. So I also interviewed people who worked in NASA.
Wow,
So
wow.
I just try to understand what technology, services, and tools they use in the space technology to solve problems. So I just want to understand. I think more than technology, I think I need to understand communication. The
Yeah,
communication is technology.
yeah.
I
I
thought that.
mean, that's really powerful. Knowing that once you connect various computers, they become so powerful. And to the extent that we have the internet and the internet is so powerful, what can happen if humans are not connected? Like, I mean, that's really great. And I mean, out of curiosity, you said you've been doing it for 3 years. So when you started off and up to now, this is forgive me as if I'm coming to interview, but I'm just interested in how it turns out you've been doing this. What has the experience been like for you for these
Uh,
past 3 years that you've been interviewing people, or the
so
highlights for you?
yeah, I interviewed more than 100 countries
Mm,
professionals from Germany, UK, US, Canada, European countries, France, also Asian countries. I interviewed different age group people and also who are not in technology. And I tried to be neutral or I was not being judgmental.
mm,
I'm just curious how different people think and
mm,
how different people solve the problems because the common thing is all are human beings. Uh, they speak different kind of English and
yeah,
they have different backgrounds. I interviewed people who don't have technology background but become experts in technology and who I know people who has a continuous technology background and there are philosophical thinkers, people who see technology in a philosophical way, the psychology background, people who comes into the technology, the leaders, how they manage business, how they maintain teams, and how they do projects, and how they market their business. So it's not one particular subject that I have tried to understood. I tried to know anything that I want to know at that point of time. I'm just curious. So this made a lot of people to come to my show. This is something my there is a lot of diversity in my show.
yeah, yeah,
So I want to like completely go different. What I have learned tested, I want to learn something else today.
mm,
So tomorrow something else. So going like different colors, I want to see different subjects.
mm,
So learn all kinds of colors and how this can make I want to make it as a rainbow, all the colors, all kinds of thought processes, trying to understand. And yeah, this is something that is a constant learning process.
mm.
My target is to interview 4,000 people coming days.
Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, I mean that's really inspiring for me because I've been in my own head trying to figure out. I want to start a podcast. Who do I interview? How do I get these people? And so all of a sudden, when I came across your content, when you reached out, and I saw, it's like, okay. So now, when you are telling me all of these and how you've been able to successfully interview all of these people, it's like saying to me that, oh, all the things that you think were challenging, there's actually a possibility. It is possible you can do it. So that's quite an inspiring story for me. And what have you learned about the approach of reaching out to people? Because I know I'm a huge introvert, but then doing this online stuff, creating content has helped me bridge the gap a bit. But I still struggle with going out to reach to out to someone and say, hey, can I like the way you reach out and say, oh, can we do an interview together? Like I struggle to do something like that unless if I know that oh I have something to offer to the person. That's how I perceive things. So I'm wondering like what's the motivation when you're reaching out to maybe now you've done it over you say you've interviewed over 700 people. So you've done it over time. It has become easy for you. But take me to when you started. How was it? And how did you, if there was that challenge, how did you overcome it? Because that's what I'm struggling with. In fact, I've been planning my podcast ever since, but I'm always wondering because I don't want to start tomorrow and end it the day after because I didn't have enough guests. So in my head, I've not been able to figure out how I'm going to get past the first 10 people. Maybe I know only 10 people in my circle, but now maybe as at last year you didn't know me, but today we are here having this conversation. So how has it been like with you?
So a lot of people I interviewed who are from Microsoft, Google, or Netflix, or from the top technology companies. One thing that they gave me compliment is you are an engineer, you are a software engineer. Not all the engineering people uh, that are connected with computers are not good with the people. They're
Mm,
not good speakers. They are not.
yeah,
Their job is to not to talk to people, but
yeah.
you are doing something which is not your job.
Mm,
So the toughest job in the world is talking with people.
mm,
It's
mm,
easy to talk with computers because you know what
yeah,
happens if you
yeah.
say something to the computer. So communicating with computer is different from communicating with people because it's not an easy job for a lot of people, but it naturally I have a leadership qualities and leadership skills since my childhood. I was in sports, like
Mm,
I was engaging with people. It became a natural thing for me to talk to people and to know what they think. And I know how to talk. I know how to approach, and I know how to tell them what I want to do. So I that and uh, there was struggle in the beginning days, like for 30, 40 interviews. It was not easy. Not many people are showing interest to come
mm,
to my show because they don't know. Even I don't have clarity what I'm going to do. So
yeah.
before this, I was a blogger. I have three, 2 to 3 blogs where I
Oh,
used to
okay.
write technology content when I was
Mm,
preparing for my PhD entrance. All those subjects I was preparing at the same time. I want to write it so that I can
mm-hmm.
remember all
Yeah.
the topics. So I used to write, and then my writing skills become very good. And I understood a lot of terminology uh, and the meanings of a lot of words. Then I can able to understand any word that are coming. So I thought this is the time to come and show my face and directly communicate. So this blogging is something that only your the
Writing.
written thing talks that will communicate.
Yeah.
But I thought I should speak now because this is another skill,
Yeah.
speaking skill. So I decided to do it, and because of the previous experience, the writing experience I have, it became very easier for me to use exact words for the situation and for the topic that I'm talking with the guest.
Mm,
So
mm,
it makes them feel so comfortable, and it makes them to understand very easily what I'm saying. So it no
mm.
matter from what accent they are and uh, uh, what country they are.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
I made it. I made a lot of my guests are very happy and wants to come to my show again and again.
Yeah. I mean, coming here, I didn't think about how this is going to inspire me, but now I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about it, I'm like, okay, yeah, like this inspires me a lot. You don't know how much clarity this has brought to me because I've been in my head thinking about this. In fact, I'm planning out my 2024 and I'm thinking about, yes, I've been able to improve my communication skills by recording videos and the likes, but I want to get far better. Like, I want to be able to speak very well on camera and the likes. And one of the ways I want to be able to do that is hosting a podcast. And I've ever thought about hosting a video podcast, but who to come and interview? So now that I'm listening to all of these and having the goal that, oh, you want to interview 4,000 people, I'm like, okay, maybe that would be a challenge for me into 2024, possibly be inspired by the work you are doing. And tomorrow I wake up and I say, yeah, I'm inspired and I'm going to start interviewing. If I'm starting thinking about, oh, maybe I'm here, like right now I'm in Canada, I can literally walk around to various software engineering companies and see if I get people to interview or talk to them about their day-to-day work and learn a thing or two just as you are doing. And it inspires me a lot. Thank you so much for what you are doing.
Definitely. Can I put this video on my YouTube channel with your permission?
Yeah, sure, you can. And let me
And
know when you do it so that I can share it with my audience as well.
definitely. Can I also put this audio and video clip on my podcast, website, internet, social media,
You
everywhere with your
can.
permission?
Yeah, you can.
And can you share your blogs to my podcast listeners so that they can learn from what you're writing or what you're sharing?
Yeah, so with Hashnode is blog.ehoneahobed.com. That's my full name, .com. So blog.ehoneahobed.com. With my personal blog where I write the reflections is ehoneahobed.com. Then on Medium, medium.com at ehoneahobed. So yeah, that's where I can be found with my content.
I'll share the web links in the description also on my website, people, and also on the screen as well. People who find our video on YouTube can able to see and can able to learn from you.
Sure, sure, sure.
And uh, uh, as I said, my sponsor, it's a communication tool. So as a technology expert, if you can give a review about it, that means a lot to me.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, I'll share it, after this conversation.
All right, sure.
Thank you
Thank you.
very much again for your time.
Yeah, thank you too for inviting me and inspiring me to go take a look at my podcast. Thank you.
Definitely, you will find a lot of videos, AWS content, and experts, technology experts from Microsoft, cloud
Hmm,
experts, software engineers, software developers, and uh, entrepreneurs, CEOs, founders, CTOs,
hmm,
all kind of. Almost, I try to interview all the departments in technology.
nice. That's
Yeah,
really nice.
yeah. Thank you again for your time.
All right, thank you too.
Start Adam. Sales and customer-facing teams often switch between several communication tools, causing time management and visibility issues that can slow down deal velocity. The solution is Start Adam, where conversation starts. With Start Adam, your team can centralize all communications within your chat tool. No more switching, waiting, or fragmented chats, because chat messaging is where business gets done. Sales team can stay in Slack or Microsoft Teams and connect with customers, leads, or candidates on their existing chat tool, building better relationships. Their constant communication in inbound and outbound messaging. Make it encrypted and compliant. Plus, bring all communications into your CRM or ticketing system. No data entry required. Join Start Adam to enhance customer relationships and close deals at hyper speed with unified chat.